Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm an anomaly, chaos incarnate, and I might be the cause of the end of humanity. Listen to ISFET Archives, a Creative Typo production, wherever you get your podcasts, and follow along as my friends and I try to save the world from, well, me.
The ISFET Archives. In the world of Turinlay rests an enormous island called Pricene. The nation of Pricene is governed by a king and council, though the real power rests in the hands of 10 cursed immortals, powerful supernatural figures who serve only their self-interests. The land is plagued with black-blooded monsters, corrupt political leaders, and bloodthirsty bandits. And the one man who is willing to stand up to them all just so happens to be an unholy abomination, a summoner of the undead, the necromancer of Pricene. Coming September 1st, 2025 to a podcatcher near you. For more information, please visit creativetypo.com.
This episode may contain content that is not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised, especially for those under the age of 13. Welcome to Into the Night. I'm Nari, your guide on today's excursion down a twisted path. Be careful not to get lost. Be it dark or light, it's easy to lose your way. Are you ready? Then let's begin. The Abandons. Part 2.
Miss Melva was true to her word, and 2 days later her brother, Bratton Greby, arrived at the front door of the orphanage along with 6 spare horses. Mrs. Stoltzman met him outside.
"Excuse me, but can I help you? Are you looking to adopt some of our children?"
She eyed his horses curiously. "Well, ma'am, not exactly adopt. I'm the foreman at the Brighton Ranch, and I'd like to hire some of the boys you have here. We're looking for some new hands, and I suppose these boys need work."
"There are adoption fees to be paid."
"I'm not looking to adopt anyone. I'm hiring young men for an honest wage." The yelling that came from the headmistress drew the attention of all the children, and a majority of the staff, causing them to peer out the windows and watch the drama unfold.
"You can't just walk in here and steal children away, Mr. Greby."
"Ma'am, I am not stealing anyone. I want to hire any of the young men who are willing to work like a man on our ranch, fair and square. Surely you can't blame them for wanting to better themselves."
"None of the children here want to work on your ranch."
At that moment, Tom, Ike, myself, and 7 other boys burst through the front door and out to where the horses stood waiting for us. "We do!" we shouted. Bratton Greby couldn't disguise the crooked smile that crept across his lips.
"Well, it's not possible,"
Mrs. Stoltzman said. No one realized at the time the people who adopted from the orphanage gave her private incentives for the exchange, in addition to the hefty adoption fee. It was news to us that those added profits were part of any bargain she made for children. We later learned that after she sold children, Minnie Stoltzman erased any trace of the children's existence from the orphanage records. No one could locate a child after that, and as far as the world was concerned, they had simply vanished from the face of the earth. No one came looking for abandons. Bratton Greby had no intention of handing her a wad of cash, and she knew it.
"You can't make them go be your slaves. What kind of a place is Brighton Ranch, abusing poor children?"
Mrs. Stoltzman mused haughtily, as if she only had our best interests in mind. "I can't recall you having any qualms about who adopted children from here to work like field hands, or worse for the girls." She started to open her mouth to voice her offense at his accusations, but he cut her off in the cool manner we come to know him by. Instead of engaging her any further, he calmly looked at us as we stood staring back at him with desperation in our eyes. "Young men, are you sure you want to work long hours in the heat and cold, and work as long and hard as a grown man?" We said yes.
"You don't even have enough horses. I guess you can only take 6 of them,"
Mrs. Stoltzman observed. "No, Mrs. Stoltzman," I said. "2 of us can ride on the same horse at the same time. It won't be a problem." Before she knew what happened, the 10 of us had hugged our friends and sisters and mounted the big bays from the Brighton Ranch. We rode behind Grattan Grebby, uncertain of what lay ahead of us. Still, we sat high in our saddles, knowing we had a chance to change our lives. Not only ours, but those of the people who meant the most to us. Nothing could turn us back now. Grattan Grebby was everything his younger sister Melva wasn't. A large, imposing man with a booming voice and an outgoing personality. He was a force to be reckoned with. If you made him proud, he let you and everyone else know it. The problem was that if you made him angry or disappointed him, he did the same. One thing I could always say about the man was that you knew where you stood with him. Early on, when we started on the Brighton, he and I had a conversation. We both intended to make sure things were clear between us. Because Melva was his sister, Grattan told me that I could find out how my sister and the others were doing. Melva would bring us regular word about them. For that, I thanked him mightily. He said that so far the Stoltzman hadn't put 2 and 2 together and figured out that Melva and Grattan were related. "Let's try and keep it that way, too," Grattan told me. "That woman is pretty angry about you boys coming here, and it won't do any of us any good if Melva is fired. She's my sister, and I love her, and it would make it hard for you to keep track of how the young ladies are if Melva were fired." My heart seized when he laid out the stark realities of what would happen if their connection ever leaked to the Stoltzmans, or anyone else at the orphanage. "Mrs. Stoltzman will be really mad when she finds out that we boys are planning to save up our money so we can rescue the girls. Mr. Grebby, it's terrible in that place. We have to save them." "I figured there was more to the story than you boys just wanting to get out and make some money. Are all of you in on it?" "At first, it was just Tom, Ike, and me, and the other boys saw it as a way of getting out of there. I know that Tad Becker and Stint Williams both have sisters in there. I've already talked to them. The boys are so grateful that we got them out of that place, and they're worried about their sisters and the other girls, so they've agreed to do the same as we had planned. To be honest, I want to save everyone who's there. But our first priorities have to be to save the ones that we're closest to. There's a lot of men who don't want to work as hard as you're going to be working, and for you to do it so you can save the people you care about raises my estimation of you." It was that moment that I knew I'd follow that man to hell.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Into the Night Anthology podcast. Written by Caroline Giamanco, narrated by Nari. Theme music by Nico Rodriguez. All other original music, sound design, and editing by Omenhawk Studios. You can find our links in the show notes. Into the Night is on your favorite podcatcher, so make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review to help other excursionists to join us. I'll see you next time. And remember, whether in the shadows or in the daylight, all twisted paths lead you into the night. Into the Night Anthology is a Creative Typo Entertainment production.